And as you can tell by looking at it, I'm going back on the bike. I don't know, it's probably about 2 weeks since I touched it. I think I want to mount the tank, maybe. Get that kind of fixed where it's gonna go. What else I got to do? I got a lot to do, but what do I want to do? I could start making some spacers and stuff, I guess, for the front wheel and, you know, bushings and all that kind of stuff. Now that the mill is up and running, I'm not even sure if I'll use the mill on that, but I got to make spacers for in between the hubs there. Oh, and I found, now I'm not going to be able to find them again. There they are. Remember I was talking about making grips for the handlebars, and I had those pine cone. These are the weights for a cuckoo clock. Well, the cuckoo clock was stolen at the cabin, but the weights were not with it, so they didn't take those. So I still have these, and they don't serve a purpose other than for something different. So I figure if I hollow them out, they might make a good grip. So that may or may not happen. I got to do some measuring and see how they go about fitting and, you know, that kind of stuff, and how they go about being milled, you know. So I'm gonna get this thing up on the lift and up in the air. The heat get up here in the garage a little bit. We'll probably, what are we? It's 28 outside. It's 39 in here. Not terrible, but everything you pick up, like that piece of metal right there, feels like it's below freezing. So let me get set up and something started, and we'll turn the camera back on. Alright, so we're on a little scavenger hunt down in the basement, and kind of the look that I want to go for is suspended off of either brass or copper. And they make little copper hold downs for pipe, and this is what they look like. And it's kind of the idea what I want to go for, at least what I'm thinking, but the gauge is way too thin. And so I was thinking, you know, that kind of idea, but, you know, probably in 2 places on top, 2 places on bottom, support the tank. So I located this is some brass, you know, plumbing. I think I'm gonna go try slicing this. I don't know how well this is going to take to being manipulated and bent, whether it's going to crack or not. And then just, you know, regular 3/4 inch copper tubing, which I think we'll be able to get without issue. Probably show you the difference in the thickness. So kind of give you an idea, you know, the beefiness of the of that stuff compared to that. So if that's the look I want to go with the brass, I figure I'm going to go slice off probably 3/4 of an inch wide piece of that. Then we'll slice it in half and just see, you know, just kind of beat on it a little bit and see if it's able to take a bend without cracking. I got my sacrificial lamb, my trial and error piece. We'll see how this makes out. So this is the piece of the same tubing that's in the frame. So I figure I'm just going to try and eyeball it with almost level. Yeah, did I lose it? It's rolling on me. And I'll try and put a mark on that side. And I'll bend that one too. Then we'll try and roll the whole thing and see how close I am, and then once I got that, I could probably just measure it and I'll know where to make my 2 bends. You guys even see anything? Now I gotta roll it around a piece of pipe. Am I gonna do that? I don't know. What I should probably do is roll it around a piece of smaller pipe, because it's got that spring back. You guys aren't seeing anything but elbow, are you? see what that looks like. As I drop it on the floor. Not bad for a first go at it. I'll trim down the ends here. And I need about that much room to clear the nuts. I'm going to weld nuts onto the tank, and that's how to get attached. I wonder if I should go a little higher, because the bottom's really kind of sitting on the frame right now, so that tank isn't really spaced where it should be. It's going to be up a little. The other thing I could do too is probably put a piece of rubber underneath them. That might help too, like a piece of inner tube or something, to help keep it from sliding around. And the only other thing I thought of too is, if worst case scenario, if I put 4 of them on there and the tank still wants to jiggle around, that I could probably drill the center of it and put something right in the center. A copper rivet would probably look pretty cool too, huh? After it's all painted. So I'm gonna go, I don't know what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go make 4 of them and see how we like them, and drill some holes in them and see if we can start stacking. I could probably stack the nut and the screw on them, and then figure out what I need for spacing. So that's what I'm gonna go do. And something like that. That'd be for the similarly, I ended up using a pipe cutter instead of trying to cut it with a saw. And even with the pipe cutter, it was kind of fighting me a little bit. They would start walking on its, not tracking over its same line, because the pipe is so soft it would turn oval, and then when it turned oval, that's what kind of screwed it up. But we got it anyway, so. If we need 6, I'll make 6. Right now I'm going to go with 4. And yeah, it's got to come up, and then the nut's got to go underneath it. So I think what I'm probably going to go do now is try to find a spot on all 4. I'll drill them and bolt the nut and bolt to them, and then I can kind of start centering the tank and see how I want to set it up, if I want rubber on there or not, and all that kind of happy stuff. So let me get to drilling those out and see how they make out. I think it's gonna have a good look though. So those little pieces of metal that kind of make it. Yeah. And I'm to the point where I'm staring at the bike, so I figure I'll go grab the camera. I took some paint sticks and then sanded the paint sticks after I broke pieces off, and wedged them in from each side, so kind of like a you shimmer a door frame. So just so I would center the tank, and the airspace is pretty much, if it's showing or not. Anyway, there's airspace all the way around the tank. That's where I want the tank. So now I just kept moving the brackets around to see what I like. And 2 things that are going on that I'll explain. One is that the height of the nuts is a shy bit taller than the tube. So my original plan was to, after I come in here and I tack the nuts and go back and re-weld them, is underneath the tube I was just gonna grind a little bit of relief in so the tank can slide in from the side. But then I was thinking, I kind of like the look of these 4 hanging from the top, and if I don't put anything in the bottom, if you loosen it down, it'll just drop down that far and be able to slide out. So I was contemplating that. I was thinking, will the tank stay still with 4 clamped on the top? And I really don't think so. I think it's going to be able to still want to swing even though it's on a curve. So, not like I can't make more of those brackets. And is 4 getting too busy? I kind of like the look at it, but at the same token, it might take away from the length of the tank. You're starting to, it's like wearing stripes on a shirt, So I was like, well, here's the original idea, was 2 of them and 2 down below. So you got those 2 up top, and then maybe split the difference, 1 there and maybe 1 here. Take the rock out of it, and I could still do that. Or 3, put 1 in the middle. like that also, unfortunately. Then maybe line dead center up with the one in the middle. Maybe make 2 more, and we'll, wherever there's one on top, put one on the bottom. I don't know. You know, the combinations keep going and going, so it's hard to come up with a solution. So that's why I was sitting there staring at it. I don't know, what do you think? 3? I think 3 looks pretty good. It doesn't break up the line too much. And then, so maybe I'll do the 3. Then I'll weld, I'll weld them and go from there. And I'll start with one in the center. And if I feel like making 2 more, I'll make 2 more for the ends. I took them, I spread them open a little bit just to make room. I am going to put a little piece of rubber, I think, around them, and those washers will disappear. I just have washers stacked on top because the length of the bolt or the screw would stick out the end of the nut, so I don't want the nut to sit flat on the tank when I go to tack it. And we'll probably get fancy with hardware anyway. We'll probably do some kind of copper or brass washers, stainless, who knows. But I'm kind of liking 3. I can't go much further back on the back one. I would have liked to have like spread the distance out evenly, but the tank gets so skinny in the back section of it that that's about as far back as I can go without the nuts, you know. Further back you go, if I go back here, now the nuts are hanging over the side, you know what I mean? So that's about where I'm maxing out. What would you do? So, yeah, I kind of like the 3. What's if I don't like it? What's the 2 nuts that are on the tank? I just take and grind them off, right? Yeah, maybe so. So it's not like I can't not do what I don't want to do, but I need to keep moving forward. So I am going to go shut these off, and we'll turn it back on. You guys are going to go find out what I came up with. All right, so I went for the 3, and I think I'm going to do 3 underneath. But right now I'm looking at after those nuts are welded, I got to be able to squeeze that thing out of the frame, and am I going to notch it? All that kind of stuff you see in the clearance. You know, it's going to hit. You pull it out, it hits. But if you take it, you push it forward, and you take the first one out, it gets wider as it goes forward, so you can kind of get it out. So you get, I'm gaining some there, but after I put a set on the bottom, you pretty much, now you're going to be kind of screwed. So I got to kind of get those notches in there, I think, at least on top. But if sliding it forward makes it better. Decisions. That's what takes all the time, you know, is figuring out all that little goofy stuff. Now I'm starting to get complicated. I wonder if I should take from that screw a leather strap that goes around to the bottom. Don't put anything on the bottom. Leave the brass on top. But is that going to hold it from going? I think it will want to slide forward because it just gets fatter as it goes forward. Unless I talk about what I did was drilling or centering the center of it, tying in the center. Oh boy. What do I do? So you guys come up with your solution. I'm gonna go come up with mine. We'll turn it back on. We'll see what we all kind of came up with. All right, you come up with your solution. I got mine. Give you a second. You can pause it if you want. All right, here's what I went with. I decided to go with actually 5. And I split the difference of what's up above down to the bottom 2 sections of it. It still makes the tank look like a a gas tank, a long gas tank without cutting it up, but still has a bunch of different color metal in it to kind of bling bling on it, I could always still do stuff later as far as some leather or wire or copper wire or this or that. But I only welded the bottom two on one side. They're just welded on this side. And here's my figuring. My figuring is, if I want to remove that gas tank, it's got to be able to come forward and swing on an angle out. It'll be able to swing a little bit because these two are in closer, so the bottom can still turn. But I have a feeling it's going to move forward a little bit, and then the two nuts on the bottom are going to hit, or the top. I'm undecided where I'm going to grind. But I don't know where that is, and if I weld both sides of it together, then I can't remove the tank to be able to touch up those areas I need to touch up or make room. So that's why I left one side naked. So I'll bring it up and find out where it almost wants to come out of the frame, mark it. That'll be my best spot for removing material to get it to come out. But I could still put it back together and then weld the other side. So that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to pull the sticks out of it and see how we actually try to remove it and then go from there. It's actually sitting a little forward from what it should be. And I would think that having it from the top and the bottom in a couple different places, it's not going to be able to want to slide forward or back if I pack them enough in the middle, because that would make the clamps have to either grow or shrink to be able to for it to move. And I think it still allows me to kind of fudge it around too if I have to. I numbered them so that I know where they go back, because each one's kind of made at its own, I gotta mark the bottom two yet. So let me go do that and see where I need to go do a little fine tuning. What'd you guys come up with? Well, it came out, went back. I welded the other two on the bottom and had to put it back in. It was rough, but it went back in. And I did touch all those areas that I talked about. I don't know if you show or not. Hopefully they kind of get buried behind the clamps anyway. So if you're looking at the line of the tube, you're not going to see much. And it's centered pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see. It's got a good air gap all the way around it. And I also figure when I'm all said and done and it's welded and all the nuts are welded and everything's cut and cleaned, I can shave some of the nuts down on top too, so they don't have to be that tall. And I'll get it Loctited. So I am thinking, now what? Well, I kind of like where that is, and I wanted to center that because I'm thinking of what we're going to do to kind of put the thing in and out of gear, and how's that going to work, and what's that going to tie into and hook to, and so on this one I think I want to make, it may change, but I think I want to make the serpentine belt the one that grabs and does not grab. I think I want to have this guy. So probably work from that point back, I'm thinking. And I'm not quite sure what I want to use for a wheel yet. I want to look and see what I got for pulleys and stuff. And I'd like to get something fairly small diameter just for the sake of how close the crank comes. Again, the back tire could be forward more. This could be getting attached here, tightened here. But so I'm gonna go look into that, see what I have in my stash, and see what we come up with. If not, if I don't have something, maybe try a skateboard wheel and we'll cut it down on the lathe. I don't know, we'll see. All right, I think I came up with something. How about we go with, on a serpentine belt, a serpentine belt tensioner with a offset cam in it. How cool is that? It's got a lip on one side, keep it from falling off, and you can adjust the it has a bit of adjustments in it built in, plus whatever I do for levers and stuff too. So that should tuck in pretty good right there. And again, I could tweak at the center of it if I have to. Yeah, right about there. Figure it's going to go up to about right there, realistically. The back tire moved forward a little bit. Right now the back tire is at its max out. Not that I can't cut that and adjust it, but it's just on the, right now it's on the stock wheel setup. I still have to make up little locks for them. Anyway, so you gotta come in. What about there? Actually, the closer the better to this, because that's the sharpest angle we want. Yeah, right about there, I think. Should be good. All right, well, I'm babbling. Let me go find some stuff. Get a little wind down for the evening. I got, I ended up using that cam, that idler pulley that I picked out, and it's got an offset so I could rotate that sucker any way I need it. And that goes through a bolt to a wrench. The wrench, there's a nut that's the right size that fits the wrench and the right size for the threads. And then there's so it's adjustable from, you know, how much play you want to put in there with a washer on each side of it, and then you can crank down the outside of it. There's another nut on the other side, you know. So, and then the same up here, there's a nut in the middle of the wrench. It rotates on the threads, and then I made a gusset up for the center of it there, and try to give it a little bit of swoopiness, just so it's not a straight line. And that's tacked into place. And then up above, I ended up going, this is a, I think it's a shifter for like a snowblower or a rototiller or some kind of power equipment. As it sits was how it was in my hoard. So I'm going to make this the pivot for the rod that goes to the rear. This mount I made for the knuckle on it, and then it's got threads up top, and I have a old door handle that's oval. I'm thinking about using for the shifter on it. And then I took a couple of sockets. There's one long bolt. The head of the bolt is here, which is the size of the socket. It runs through the center of it so that it can kind of move around a little bit, but it's keyed. It's not like it's going to spin on me. There is like a Briggs & Stratton valve spring in between there. 2 washers on it, and then another socket, and then you can adjust this jam down how much pressure you put on it. And what that has, it gives you capacity of, is the shifter. The shifter can move from side to side. You can push it in and it'll spring back out, and you can adjust the tension of it. I don't want to do it too much because I just have it tacked, but you can push it in, and I want that to be like you're gonna have some kind of ratchet setup over here that you select what finger it kind of goes in, so you got to be able to kind of like put it, you know, into gear and take the tension back off of it. So that's why that's like that, and I quite haven't decided yet what to kind of go make that thing, but I'm thinking maybe half a horseshoe, and then take some square nails and roll them up so that maybe they stick out by, yeah, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or something like that, ½ inch, and that can be the pivots for it to lock onto, or the other way around. It can go that way too. And roll them, you know, so you don't stab somebody, and maybe make that the detents. So that'll probably be drive. I mean neutral, sitting in neutral, but make sure I can clear the handlebars, and then pull it down. Probably about right there, I'm gonna say. All depends on how much it needs to, how much travel it needs to do anyway. But I'm thinking right about there probably. And have the rods come underneath here to another knuckle, another pivot, and then another rod going back down. So I think I'm gonna go play with those tomorrow. Again, I'm wrapping it up for now. Oh, and I found some, I stuck the brass on the handlebars, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. So I might start getting a bunch of brass put on it. I know I got the spacers and stuff already to do on the front end, but down in the basement I have it's a thing for in front of a fireplace, the decorative piece when you use it during the summertime. It's like a fan looking pattern, but they're all brass like blades. Kind of looks like NBC logo there, the peacock. It's got that kind of like look to it, but they're all little holes punched in them, and it's very stout stuff. It's older, probably 60s maybe. I think I might take that apart and use that maybe for some of the belt and or chain guards. So I think it's getting heavy a little bit, but they have that right about size and shape of this guy right here on its own. So, but that's another time. Tonight is it. We're wrapping her up. It's coming along pretty nice. All right, guys. Again, thanks for watching. Comment, subscribing, and you have a good night. Take care.